So we are in the midst of a busy weather week, and we have two more storm systems that we are going to be dealing with. One is tomorrow through Saturday morning, and then the next one is late this weekend into early next week, and that is the potential for a East Coast snowstorm, and we're going to get into that towards the end of the video. Let's first talk about this first system here, and it's going to eject out of the Central Rockies into the Central Plains through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, you're going to have snow overspreading regions of Iowa, moving into Wisconsin. And then through the day on Friday, we are also going to be dealing with severe weather potential here across the Ohio Valley with strong upper level wind shear, strong upper level winds, low level wind shear, and we're going to have warm, moist air being drawn northward in the warm sector of this cyclone. And we're going to have about 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram of mixed layer CAPE. So that is conducive for a severe weather threat here in the middle of February, which is pretty rare, especially across the Ohio Valley region. Not unheard of. It has happened before. We've had severe weather across the Northeast this time of year, but it doesn't happen too often. So it is a pretty big event that's going to be occurring. And we do have threats for tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds. And I'll show you the SPC's outlook in just a second here. But let's move this along here. We're going to have snow moving into Wisconsin, into northern Michigan through the afternoon hours on Friday. And then as this energy, and I'll show you the upper levels in a second, but as this energy size east along this pre-positioned baroclinic zone here, you're going to get another narrow region of snow, heavy snow, especially in the higher elevations where you can see 6 to 12 plus inches in upstate New York, into Vermont, and into New Hampshire. And then some accumulating snow also into Massachusetts and then into Maine through the morning hours on Saturday before it exits off the coast. Let me show you the upper levels with this system just so that you can see what we're dealing with. So right here is that upper level energy that I'm talking about that's going to be driving this storm system here. And let me move this along here. It ejects out into the Central Plains, into the upper Great Lakes. And then look at that. It slides to the east along that baroclinic zone, that frontal boundary that's in place across the Northeast. And that brings you that narrow region of accumulating snowfall and then also rain into the mid-Atlantic and then also into southern New York, into Connecticut, Rhode Island. You're also going to get some mixed precipitation also into south and central New York, into Massachusetts, and into Connecticut and Rhode Island. Now, let's talk about this potential for an East Coast snowstorm. So here is the graphic that I made earlier, and this light blue region here just shows where the potential is for some accumulating snowfall. But this area highlighted in dark blue, as you can see here, is the best chance at this point to see accumulating snowfall and then potentially a significant snow. I want to show you what the models are showing. Right now, we're going to look at the European, the GFS, and the Euro AI. And let's take a look at the differences. All right, so here we're going to start with the 500 millibar in vorticity map for the GFS. And here is that energy that's going to be ejecting out of the Pacific. And you're going to have a few pieces that are coming together for this storm. And that's the southern piece and then this northern piece. Let's move this along here. I want to show you something. So here's that southern piece and here's that northern piece. And here's your trough. It's positioned over here to the west over the Ohio Valley region. This northern piece, the GFS wants to drop this northern piece into the southern piece. And look what happens. They phase here. You see this blob of vorticity, this large blob of vorticity phase, and then the trough goes, look at that, it goes negative. And then you get this storm to ride up to the north, and you get snow here along the coast, and potentially a significant snow along the coast for some of the major cities. And I want to show you what it looks like at the surface. Let's take a look at the surface map with this storm. And I'm going to zoom in. So let me zoom into the northeast. So here is the zoomed in version of the GFS, the surface depiction. And this wants to bring a substantial snow from Baltimore, DC area into coastal regions of New Jersey and then also into Philadelphia. Into New York City, you get a decent amount of snow out of this, and then also into Boston as the storm heads up the coast. Now let's take a look at what the European is showing, because the European is a bit different. So here's the European. I'm going to start with the surface just so you can see what the differences are. I know I'm going out of order. I like to start with the 500 millibar vorticity map, but I want to show you what the Euro is showing at the surface. And here you get your storm. And then look at this. You still get some snow here into southern Pennsylvania, into coastal New Jersey, into Long Island, and then also into portions of eastern Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. but the storm is a bit further out to sea. I want to show you here again what the GFS is showing at this same time. Look at that. The GFS is a lot closer to the coast, so you get a significant snowfall along the I-95 and points east. But the European, again, is more out to sea, and I'll show you the upper levels as to why the European has the storm system further out to sea. So let's take a look at the upper levels. So here is the European, and this is the 500 millibar vorticity map that we're looking at. Here is the energy that's going to be bringing the storm. This is the southern piece, and here is that northern piece. Just like the GFS has, it drops it south, but look at this. Look at where the trough is sitting. It is further east, so that pushes the storm further offshore. I'm going to show you the GFS at this same time period. So let's look at the GFS. Look at that. It's back here over the Ohio Valley. If you want snow along the coast, if you want a significant snow along the coast, you want that trough axis to be positioned further west. If the European is correct, it has it further east, and the storm is more offshore. You might still get some snow. It might clip the coast, but it's not going to be a significant snowfall like the GFS is bringing. Now let's look at one more. We're going to look at the Euro AI. So here is the Euro AI, and look at this. It kind of has a similar idea to what the Euro is showing. The trough axis is further east, and look where this energy goes. You still get a negatively tilted trough, so you'll get some snow along the coast, but the storm is further out to sea as compared to the GFS. Let's look at the GFS here. Let's take a look at the GFS quick. Look at the trough axis. It's further out here to the west, and you get the storm to go negatively tilted, and you get a storm that is closer to the coast with the GFS, but the Euro AI says, nah, trough axis is over here, and the storm is further out to sea. Hold on, I have to cough. All right, I'm done coughing now. Let's take a look at the surface, just so you can see what I'm talking about here, and look at this. This is the Euro AI, and you do have cold air in place. Not a lot of cold air. It's not going to be Arctic air, but it will be cold enough to support snow. But look at this. Let's move it along. And you get some snow along the coastal regions to the east of the I-95, but it's not as much as you would get if the GFS is true. But right now, we are still a few days out, so there's a lot that needs to be determined. A lot needs to be figured out. There's going to be that windshield wiper effect between the models. As you can see, yesterday they were showing a major snowstorm on the interior portions of the Northeast. Now they are showing a more eastward track, but we could see a westward shift, but it could also trend further eastward. So right now, we are still a few days out, so just know that the potential is there for a major East Coast snowstorm, but it's not written in stone at this point. There's one thing I want to show you because I almost forgot, and that's the severe weather outlook for Friday. Let me show you here real quick. Here is the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, the SPC. Here they have a slight risk for portions of Illinois, Indiana, into Ohio with a marginal risk here around that slight risk. And you do have, again, risk for tornado, risk for large hail, and damaging wind risk. So stay tuned. I will keep you guys updated. If anything changes, I will let you guys know. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like and subscribe. Follow me on X and on Facebook at Geostrophic Flow. Links are now actually in my bio. I added them today, and I know that they're in there because I added them today. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed.